Booyah! What's up, everybody? Welcome to some more cooking with Booyah. Alright, so today, as you might be able to tell, things have gotten a little bit smoother, a little bit better. Got a nice webcam for seeing my face. No more of that crappy integrated webcam nonsense. Welcome, Piggy Man! And little Psychic Katie and Matt, welcome, welcome. Psychic Katie was here for the last stream but didn't say anything. It's all good. Lurking is fine. All I ask is you hit that like button if you haven't already for this stream and even the last one. Be sure to hit that and I will be greatly appreciative. Alright, so today we are making keto chili. The big thing about chili and why it isn't much of a keto friend typically is because it has beans in it, and beans have carbs galore. So today we're going to make it without the beans. Beanless chili. So, first step, as you can see, bacon. You knew it! Iran's here. Heyo, what's up, Iran? Bacon is our first step. We're going to get this cut up into smaller pieces. Slice them up however you please. In this situation, you need about 6 slices of bacon. I might have 7 here. Sometimes the way it gets packaged is a little weird, and I just need to finish the package. So I'm going to give a majority of these a slice lengthwise, and then we're going to slice them up so that they are nice little bits. So let's get that going. I don't know what song I have in my head. I just know I've heard it before. Alright, let's get this into bits. So your bacon is going to be one of the many elements that's going to be very close to bean size and shape. Hey, James is right here. What's up, James? Good to see you. Good to see you. Alright, cut in bacon. Lots of bacon. This is going to make a pretty big soup. You should get about 9 cups or so of soup out of this. A little bit bigger than my usual. Usually I make the recipes to make about 8 cups, but in this case we're going 9. Go big or go home when it comes to chili. At least that's the way I understand it. Trying not to turn my mat too far that way. I don't want to get it too close to the burner. The burner's not hot right now. Bacon can go in with the burner nice and cold and it'll work its way up. We're not trying to sear it. We just need to cook it through and make it just like we did last time we used bacon. Get it nice and crisp. It will be soft when it's cooked in the soup, but we want it crisp or else it will be a soggy, chewy mess, and you don't want it to be chewy. Nobody wants chewy bacon in their soup. I like slightly chewy bacon in normal situations, but not in my soup. Alright, so we'll kind of press that down so it's spread out a little bit in the pan. Turn that on. I like to cover it just in case it decides to sputter. We'll get that on a medium-high heat. And I'm going to go rinse my hands off. When will Gordon Ramsay be on the stream? Nope. And this is not Captain Toad. Sorry. Welcome, Spree. Welcome. The good thing about most bacon is that it's called, most of it's cured. You can get uncured and then you don't have to worry about any extra sugars or anything being added. And it's done eat up. But cured bacon means it's not technically raw anymore. It's been smoked to a degree so that you don't have to worry about contamination with most bacons as long as it's been cured. Alright, so while the bacon is going, we are going to, oh, fancy boy, made a burger for dinner and Kent will be out here making soup. Hey, Fireboy is here. What's up, Fireboy? Alright, so now we got so we put in our bacon. We got a small to medium onion. What you're looking for is after you get rid of all the extra chunks the outside skin that you don't want to eat, because you don't want the filmy, flimsy stuff, because that is another thing that gets chewy and weird. You want about 100 grams worth of onion after you get it. In this case, I use grams instead of ounces, but that'd be like 3.5-ish ounces, I guess. I don't know. Onions, cut however you please. This isn't really going to take the place of any of your beans, unless you decide you like crispy chunks of onion. My wife doesn't care for onion as much, so I saute them down pretty thin. Room temp water is better than cold water? Okay, if you say so. I like ice cold water to drink, personally. I'm not doing the greatest job of chopping here. Probably better to go this direction. But I'm not a professional chef. It doesn't need to be a professional job. Just don't cut yourself. That's all that's required. All right, I'm going to push those back. I don't need those for a little bit yet. That will go in after our beef goes in. But bacon needs to cook first. Bacon will come out after it's been crisp. We'll put it on a paper towel so that it can... we don't need all the extra greases from it. You just like the stream noise. Like my water being ice cold too with ice crystals in it that stab your esophagus. That might be a little extreme. Alright, so we got several other things that we can be prepping along the way. Different things that will get added later. Such as mushrooms. Now, for this, mushrooms is another thing that's kind of taking place of your beans. So these will go in very close to the end, and you want them cut more to the size of beans. The thing with the mushrooms is, if you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to do it, but if you want to include them in there, you can cook them for longer, and then you'll hardly taste mushroom. But with these, so we're going to keep stem and all. I like the Baby Bella ones. And we're going to cut these to be about the size of beans. Because like I said, they're going to essentially take place of the beans to a degree later on. So, you know, slice them up, get them into nice sized slices, cut it into like thirds or quarters depending on the size of your mushroom. And like I said, these will go in towards the end so that they don't cook down too much. If you want them for nutritional value, not for taste, then like I said, I would recommend putting them in sooner then, but that's not our purpose today. Boom, 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 boom. A lot of Booyaa bucks. Yes, indeed. Yeah, if there's anybody here watching and they see the live chat and what craziness goes on, it's because I'm also a gamer, and a lot of the stuff carrying over is stuff from when I'm gaming. I don't want to necessarily split my communities unless they become so big I need to split them, but for now, why can't we be gamers and cookers? Chefs! Maybe not professional, but chefs. Alright, last item that we need to start prepping. Let me get a spoon out here. I need to stir up my bacon. I hear it sizzling! Sizzling bacon. Good stuff. Alright, we got that to a sizzle. I'm going to turn that down to more of a medium heat instead of the medium high, so that we don't burn it. Sean, what's up, Sean? Alright, I have one last ingredient to add that I need to cut up that will also be helping take the place of beans. And that ingredient is sweet pepper. Now I'm using a red one. You can use whatever sweet pepper you desire. but red is usually kind of the color that goes with chili. Also, being keto, too much tomato can detract from that. We're going to use a tomato paste, but we're not going to add extra tomatoes. So instead of chunks of tomatoes, you'll also still have your chunks of pepper. That will help keep the carbs down. But if you're not watching carbs, you do you. You do whatever you want to do. You can take this base recipe and convert it however you want. Booyah, sweet peppy! Alright, we're going to gut this out. Gut it out whatever way you want. The end result just has to be we need to cut it into strips. I probably did this a different way than I normally do. So I like to scoop out the excess stuff with a spoon. A spoon that your normal dinner teaspoon usually has a sharp enough edge to get that stuff scooped out. A couple extra little seeds won't hurt anything if you leave any seeds behind. Get that nice and scooped. And dump it out. Alright, scooped out enough. The bulk of the seeds and the stuff in the middle are gone. Continue to stir bacon so it doesn't burn. Don't burn the bacon. Boom, 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 boom. Bacon is the best. The best around. Alright, I'm gonna cut this down a little bit more so it's easier to slice. And so since this is also taking the place of having beans in your soup, you will also want to cut this down to be very similar in size to your beans. Surprise, surprise. A little extra there. Alright. Nice little pepper beans. Which makes me think of pepperoni. I've never thought to try pepperoni and chili before, but now there's a part of me that wants to try making a pizza chili. You're too close to that webcam, by the way. Only when I get close to my computer. But otherwise, there isn't too much else I can do right now. But it's a nice new webcam, so it's not blurry and fuzzy and weird, because it was made on a laptop that was also made like over 5 years ago or something like that. Alright, that's half a pepper down. So for the pepper, I have down 186 grams. I'm going to go on a limb and guess that's how much the last pepper I used weighed in total. If you want a good guesstimate, I'd say one large pepper will be about that. In terms of ounces, what would that be? About 7 ounces, maybe? Kansas Chili! What's up, Aqua Studios and Matt 13? Booyah! You know what's really weird? That didn't sound super staticky. Something of... Maybe I have less things going for the cooking stream, so it's not as bad? I don't know. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, all our things are cut up, prepped. Chunks of pepper, chunks of mushroom, chunks of onion. I don't know if I clarified that the mushroom was 3 ounces worth of mushrooms, which would also be approximately 84 grams, depending on which system you like to use the most. That one I have in ounces because you usually buy it in ounces here. Dun, 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 dun. You know how to cook anyways. That's what this is all about. You're learning how to cook. This is what you're doing. This is where you learn the cooking things. Our bacon is getting very close. I'm going to uncover it. The pot's deep enough that it's not going to sputter too far out. Our bacon is looking good, getting close, getting some brownage going. Looking quite delectable. As Matt would say, we're done. Bacon has been made. Who needs to make the rest? Don't forget all the safety tips. Safety tips. Don't cut yourself, don't burn yourself. It's pretty simple. That's about all you really need to worry about, right? Right. Alright, let's see here. GB Plays! What's up, GB? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It would be greatly appreciated. We're already up to 8 Booyaas up there in that top corner. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate it. The more likes we get, the better it'll be. I don't know. I can't guarantee that it'll be better because you give me more likes. But the more likes it has, the more likely it'll show up for other people, giving us that extra little boost to Team Booyaa. Get more people on the team. And if you're not already part of the team, hit that subscribe button. Join Team Booyaa. If you don't want to miss a show, cooking or gaming, you can hit that bell too. That bell helps too. As long as YouTube actually notifies you. They're not always very good at that. So we've seen. Alright, our bacon is pretty much all really browned, as you can see. Lovely, delicious brown. We're going to scoop that out. We're not going to be too careful about, you know, like you could use a slotted spoon. I'm setting this on a paper towel. That'll get rid of most of the excess grease. We don't need all that excess grease, so I'm going to dump some of this out as well. Another note to keep in mind, bacon grease, very similar to oil in that if you are dumping this out in like a sink and it is hot, do not have water in that sink or you will regret probably living at that point because it will not be kind. All right, I'm going to dump this out real quick. Alright, just a thin little layer of bacon grease down there, nothing big. Of course, you can keep some of that bacon grease if you want some extra fat added to this. That extra bacon grease will help add fat, but when it comes to bacon, what's labeled on the package Booyah! Thank you for that. Alright, so what's listed on the package for nutrition facts is just for the bacon and essentially drained of grease. So if you do keep any of the grease for added fat, you do have to remember to add bacon grease to your recipe to give you that fat and calories in your macros and ratios and all that fun jazz, no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing it keto or not. Alright, so now our bacon is done, in with the beef. Now that doesn't actually need to be covered. Usually I end up covering beef because lots of times I'll go straight from frozen. I always buy it fresh. I don't buy the tubes of beef, but then I'll freeze it in 1 pound packages so it's convenient. And if I do it from frozen, I usually cover it and do it at a lower heat. But this was nice and thawed already. Good to go. I'm using 90-10 beef as I labeled on my package here. Beautifully labeled. That's because I can get that for really cheap at Sam's Club. But also, if I want, normally with keto, you want a fattier meat. But you also have to watch calories. That's one thing that most people don't recognize with keto is the fact that they're like, yes, all the fats in the world, and they don't watch their calories, and then they wonder why they're not losing weight. But you also got to remember keto is a lifestyle, not just a way to lose weight. If you are watching your macros properly, keeping your net carbs down, and not going overboard on the calories, you should see results. But I know previously I tried doing keto once before. Didn't go so well, but I wasn't watching my calories probably as well as I should have. So it didn't really do much for me. I was also at a lower weight than I am now, because that changes things too, based on where your current weight is at. Beans, please, says Vincent Price. Sorry, no beans here. No beans. Not allowed. Not on this diet. Maybe you could add like two beans, but I don't know what you're going to do with the rest of the can. But no beans. We are substituting other stuff to essentially be our beans. Oh! No beans, but pizza is okay. Pizza is okay if you make it right. I made pizza with a coconut flour in it and psyllium husk powder. And making that, I mean, there's obviously more that goes to it than that. But making the dough with something else, there's other types of doughs you can make, like a fathead dough using almond flour and cheese. But yeah, so as long as you make it correctly. Booyah! Thank you for the mighty booyah. We are actually one like away from our 10 booyahs. If you want some extra booyah bucks, for those of you that come to my channel for gaming, you'll know what those are. But otherwise, you don't need to worry about it. It's all good. Just a little extra added fun and flair for live streaming. Good stuff. Alright, our beef is almost all the way browned up. We're going to make a nice little hole there in the middle. It is time to add our onion. Let's try not to add any of our other stuff, as we did it all on the same cutting board. But why do you have more dishes than you need, right? This is a nice flexible cutting board. I can funnel it out. Alright, onion going in. And because I just roughly chopped it the way I did, just poking it a little bit, get some of those pieces to start separating. So every little piece gets a chance to cook. Got it! I'm not sure what you got. Chat might have went by too fast for me to know what you got. Did you win? Did you win one? Y'all winner! Win the coin flip. Be right back for a moment. Alright, cool. It's all good. It's all good. Cooking the onion. Alright, I think I clarified that it is 1 pound of beef, if you didn't already pay attention to that. 1 pound of beef. We talked about how much onion, but I'll reiterate, it was 100 grams, which would be like 3.5 ounces of onion, or like somewhere between a small and medium onion. I weighed one onion and it was like 84 grams. I weighed another onion and it was like 140 grams. Once you cut the excess off, that 140 will get you closer to 100 grams or 3.5 ounces. So that is what we got going in the pot. Going in the pot. Alright, we're going to get it all stirred up. Get that onion integrated. The good thing with this is because we're cooking a soup, the onion doesn't have to be sauteed all the way down immediately. I like to get it a little extra cooking of its own at the bottom of the pan there, but that's not entirely necessary, as it's going to be simmering in the soup anyway. A normal bean chili, you let that simmer for almost as long as possible. But that is the way that it is. Alright. Next, we will add, let's see here, let's go with our seasonings. Sometimes I don't remember which order I add things in. It's not too crucial, except for the stuff that you don't want to overcook. So seasonings, be prepared. Chili is more than just chili powder. Chili. For this, we have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder in this bowl. I mixed them all together already, so it's easy to dump. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of black ground pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 3 tablespoons of chili powder. So that will be going in now. Get some of that flavoring our beef before we add any broth and whatnot. So we'll get that stirred up so that it cooks onto the beef a little bit, and then the excess and whatnots will simmer into the broth and the soup. Alright, another ingredient we need to add towards the bottom of the pan. I have 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. Or if you're doing it completely fresh, that would be about 2 cloves. I had to think for a second. About 2 cloves of fresh garlic minced up. That doesn't need too long at the bottom, just enough to get it a little bit roasted. If you're using fresh, it will probably take just a little bit longer to get it so you have a nice roasted garlic going into the bottom there. Alright, next we got tomato paste. This will help give it that tomatoey. Normally I use, with a normal chili, I would use tomato juice, but tomato juice is like laced with concentrate and sugar, and that is not so friendly when it comes to keto. So we're using tomato paste. Not entirely ideal, but I use 1/2 of a can of tomato paste, which ends up being about 3 ounces or 84 grams approximately of tomato paste. Get that mixed in with the beef before we add the broth. Now you can use whichever broth you prefer. I use chicken broth usually as my main broth no matter what I'm cooking, even if it is something like chili. That's kind of where the tomato paste and all the extra seasonings kick in the flavor that you don't necessarily need to use beef broth. With this recipe, I've also done to cut back on a little bit of the calories, but also the carbs, because beef broth generally has some carbs in it. I've done an entire box of beef broth, an entire box of chicken broth. This time I'm doing 2 boxes of chicken broth, which would bring it to about 8 cups worth. So however you do your chicken broth, if you use bouillon or whatever, it is about 8 cups worth of broth. Whatever type of broth you prefer, because like I said, the tomato paste and the seasonings, that's where the most of your flavor is going to come out. Alright, now that we've added that broth, we're going to kick this up to high heat. Take it up a notch. Get that up to a boil. We want this nice and boiling. Then we'll taper back to a simmer before we add anything else to it. Booyah! Thank you for the mighty booyah, Sean. I can tell it smells delicious now. Can you smell it? Can you smell it through your computer or TV or mobile phone? Right through the screen. Deliciousness coming right at you. Good, good stuff. My stove takes a little longer to come to a boil than most stoves would. Being a glass top stove, it's usually a little bit slower. I think I went over this in my last video with them. The glass top stoves are a little bit slower, but they are very consistent. Once you have the temperature set, it doesn't really fluctuate much, and it will hold its heat longer, which can be dangerous because you don't have a cover to put over top of it necessarily, and you got to pay attention to if the stove says the surface is still hot, because it can be deceiving. Very, very deceiving. Alright, so once this comes to a boil, We'll turn it down to a simmer. With my stove, that's turning it down to low heat, and it will stay at a simmer when it's covered. Otherwise, medium low heat is usually about where you have a nice good simmer going. Almost there. I can see a little bit of bubbles percolating. Just a little bit of bubbles percolating. And then we'll be able to add our bacon. Will go in before we add the other stuff. Like I said, with the peppers and the mushrooms, we want those to go in very close to the end. They're only going to cook in there a couple minutes to kind of absorb some flavor, but you want them to stay a little bit more crisp so that you have a little bit of a bite to it. Not necessarily a crunch, like the sweet pepper will give you a crunch if you don't cook it at all. You don't want it to have a crunch necessarily because you want it to simulate beans. Bubble beans. Another thing to keep in mind. Chili, the longer you can let this simmer before adding the other stuff, usually the better with chili. But do note, that needs to be a simmer and that needs to be stirring like every 15 minutes at the longest. Because if you leave it on high on a boil, you will burn whatever's in there. Because that stuff's going to sink to the bottom, particularly the beef. And the last thing you want in your chili is burned beef. I've known somebody to have done that before. Not pleasant for the taste buds. I can tell you that much. Not pleasant at all. If you burn anything in there, the burn flavor will spread throughout. Yes, the burn flavor will go into everything. If you don't believe that, burn a piece of toast. You burn a piece of toast, that whole toast is junked. You try to scrape off the burnt part, you're wrong. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. Sometimes you get a little bit lucky, but you'll still taste it. You'll taste the remnants of burnt. You don't mind burnt toast? Are you one of those savages that eat burnt popcorn too? I've known people to do that. Burnt popcorn. They prefer burnt popcorn over regularly cooked popcorn. And you can't even use the argument of, then I get all my kernels popped. Nobody cares. Burnt popcorn's the worst. You eat burnt popcorn, but you prefer regular. I can eat it if it's partially burnt and only some of them, because sometimes it cooks weird. Booyah! I get that fire boy. A little extra booyah flair going. We're still sitting at that 9 likes though. Who is holding back their like button? Who's doing it? Hit that like button. Give us a little more booyah love up in here. Hit that like button. Like I said, going slow. Nice and slow. Slow and steady wins the race though, right? Something like that. Have you turned up to high? Crank it. 10 likes for you. You have the same symptom as Matt, where it shows one more like than actually exists. Or 10% of the people out there show the correct amount of likes, and you and you guys and the rest of us see one less like. Hit that button! Do it! The mightiest Booyaa should be Baby Kent dancing. That would take a lot more than 500 Booyaa bucks. But we do have that challenge over on Discord. If you're good at making an animation, I'm looking for a nice animation to go with the mighty Booyaa. Something that most likely involves me. Can include my 8-bit me. However you want to make that. Get it going. Get it going. Baby Kent. Baby Kent? No, we are not having a baby Kent. No baby Kent allowed. This isn't Mario Kart. Dun, 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 dun. I can get very impatient. And when you're cooking live, and this takes time, the patience starts to wear thin. All right, I can tell it is getting very, very, very close. And finally, you get the LOL in. We're getting very, very close. I don't know if you can hear that. Very crisp bacon. But like I said, once it's in the soup, the super crispness of it will go away, but it won't be soggy chewy. You don't want that. What is that baby thing hanging from the doorway? Oh, you see part of the baby swing or jumpster, so that Torn can jump around, jump around. Hey, we hit 10 likes. Nice. All right, that means I get to hand out some extra Booyaa bucks to all you lovely folks out there. We'll drop down 100 Booyaa bucks. Thank you guys so much for those likes. Booyah! Booyah! It is greatly appreciated. All right. So we got our bacon back in, and then we will add. Well, once it's come to a boil, like I said, we'll taper it back to a simmer, and then we will add peppers and then mushrooms after a couple minutes. So let's let that actually hit a boil finally. Sean, you're heading to school? All right, have a good one. Thanks for dropping by, Sean. You have a great and wonderful day. Hopefully school goes good for you. Hopefully it all goes good. Current? Who's current? There's no current command. Or is it Kempt? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Kempt? There's no Kempt either. Who out there is named Kempt? Oh. You're wrong. Are you Bant? You spelled it wrong. I can tell you spelled it wrong. You definitely spelled it wrong. Oh, it's starting to bubble! Bubblicious. Do not add chewing gum to your soup. Highly discouraged. Thank you for the LOL. Risk it. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. I'm not 100% sure what that tune is right now. Maybe it has something to do with part of me thinks it's Power Rangers, but I don't remember the last time I watched Power Rangers. I guess there was that movie. I remember there being a movie. The live action movie. It wasn't too bad. Then again, I haven't gone back to watch the, I guess it was live action back then too. There was a cartoon version, I think, at one point, but the TV show, if I watch that now, I'd probably go, okay, I don't know why I ever watched this. But that's most of the stuff you watched as a kid, right? You wonder why you ever watched that? What were you thinking? Alright, there we go. Nice boil going. I'm going to turn that back so it will just simmer. Simmer, class, simmer. you remember that. Saturday morning. Simmer class. Simmer. Iran can't win the dice rolls. Oof. Oof, indeed. Does anybody out there have any questions of me in my cooking and what's happening? Or different ideas for what you might do for your own chili? You're welcome to ask. If you're not watching this live, Booyaa! If you're not watching this live, of course, you are always welcome to leave a comment down below. Booyaa! And I will try my best to get back to anybody who leaves a comment. It's not too hard right now, but who knows in the future how hard it will become to respond to all the comments. You know what I mean? All right, peppers are going in. Drop them in. Don't let them splash on you too much. I probably should have just took the cutting board and pushed them off the edge, but gotta live a little, right? Gotta risk it sometimes. Spattering those fingers. Bobblehead Kent. There you go. Make a bobblehead animation. Go-Go or something. It's probably because, like I said, I'm thinking of, odds are I'm thinking of Power Rangers, and it's like, Go-Go Power Rangers! Or something like that. It's my best guess. Yeah, make it. I'm asking you to make it. I can make still pictures, but to actually make a bobblehead animation? Come on. You're asking a lot of me. It's hard enough just to play video games and talk most of the time. And to play video games averagely. To expect more of me. That would be crazy. That's what you hear? That's what I said. I think that's what I keep thinking of. Now that I'm thinking of it fully, I'm fairly certain. What do I use for toppings? Usually just cheese. I like mine a little more on the spicy side, so I tend to use a little extra chili powder in mine after it's cooked. But then after that's stirred in, cheddar cheese or Colby Jack cheese, whichever you prefer. Traditional is probably just cheddar cheese on top. About an ounce of that, or 28 grams, however you want to weigh it. Or quarter cup if you're measuring, but I never trust measuring in a cup. I never trust that. There's so much variable. And if you won't want to take my word on that, buy a bag of shredded coconut and tell me how to measure that. Because the weight and how much you would scoop out are not the same. Not even close. Like a whole ounce of shredded coconut, they're like 2 tablespoons. Well, maybe if I pack it in there as tightly as possible, maybe I can get that. I don't know. But yes, measuring by weight tends to be the most accurate. Unless you're dealing with a liquid, then usually measuring by cup makes sense. But and like after my soup is cooked, I usually end up measuring by cup, but I try my best to scoop as evenly as possible. But there's no perfect way to do it with soup, unless you like literally drain the entire soup, scoop out the the normal and solid ingredients, and then pour in the rest of the broth. Hey, Princess Lana! How's it going? Good to see you, Princess Lana. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Got a nice simmer going with our peppers. So we don't want our peppers to go too long, because otherwise they'll get soft. But they're still pretty crisp. Pretty crisp. So we'll give them a few minutes. Back with Cooking with Kim Ken, episode 2. This is probably actually like, what is this, episode 3 or 4? This is the second time with the fancy thing that I have up now. My new Cooking with Booyaa slide, which I'm going to try and update that image with different 8-bit food images for whatever I'm cooking, because some of this stuff I don't have pictures of, like what they look like done. So I want to... Booyah! I want these things to, I want a nice cook picture, but usually I don't have a cook picture before I make them in front of you guys. So that's the way it is. Hey, Super Lone Star Bros, Roblox and Splatoon! Hello. And you said you subbed? Nice. Thank you for that subscription. Thank you so much. If you are watching live and you subscribe, and a giant alert doesn't pop up on the screen, that is because your subscription settings are set to private. Now, essentially what that does is means nobody can see what you are subscribed to, but if people can't see what you're subscribed to, my bot can't see what that you subscribed to me. So just letting you know that is what's happening out there with that. But I appreciate your subscription no matter what. Silent or out loud. That is probably cooking a little higher than I want it to. Turn it down! Pump up the volume. Boom, boom. Yes, welcome to the fam. Welcome to Team Booyaa. Who is awesome? You are awesome. As my alert would say, anyways. That is steaming hot. Yes, yes it is. I can blur the camera. Woo! It clears up pretty quick. Pretty good. When I have a new account, mine doesn't have it public. To each their own. Like I said, however you have it set, it all varies. It's convoluted and complicated. 14 likes now. Technically 13, but 14 on yours. It's all good. Thank you for the likes. It's greatly appreciated. The more likes we get, the more likely someone will find us. You're LOLing at Ron losing his bucks? Oh no! You don't like to be announced when you sub? I usually do. More so because I'm a streamer. So if I jump into somebody else's stream and I subscribe, it's nice to get, you know, noticed a little bit. And then hopefully I can find a way to let people know that I stream, but you don't want to necessarily blurt that out because people tend to frown upon that. It's not common courtesy to try and pull people away from watching what they're already watching. But hitting that like button will help get our stream into other people's faces. So be sure to hit that like button. It's getting closer. Alright, those peppers are almost where they need to be. Very, very close. I'll give that another minute. So, roughly 5-ish minutes is probably good enough as long as they're kept at a somewhere between simmer and boil. Do I play Roblox? No, I do not. I don't really play anything on my computer or anything really mobile because I don't really have the means to stream those things. Right now, my computer has a hard enough time just streaming, so I don't play games on them either. I think I heard that Roblox is on Xbox, but I don't have an Xbox either, so unless somebody wants to buy me one, I have a PlayStation 4 and a Switch that I stream from all the time. What if you really play Roblox? What if? What if indeed? No, I play Minecraft. I play Minecraft plenty. We have a realm that is open to patrons. When it comes to the cooking streams, I don't really plug my patrons too much, other than the fact that they are on the bottom of the screen. I'm not used to being the main screen. I'm used to being the corner screen. But right there, my patron sponsors, Matt M, Mama Jan, and OCAF. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for supporting me on Patreon, helping me do the things that I do. If anybody doesn't know, that is a way to support the stream for as low as $1 per month, getting yourself exclusive perks on my Discord, in my stream. What about Fortnite? It's on the Switch. Fortnite's one that I used to play quite a bit of. Right now I've kind of backed off. It appears in the my stream polls to play as a multiplayer game occasionally, but it's not one that ends up in my regular too often. But that's partially due to limited time. I want to be able to play certain games, and Fortnite isn't usually on the top of my priority list, so it usually kind of gets kicked lower in the list unless the people on my Discord vote for it. But usually those days end up going to Mario Kart. There's a lot more people wanting to play Mario Kart in my community than they want to play Fortnite typically. Although last week Minecraft won. You never really know who's going to take it. But so you don't play Fortnite anymore? Not fully. Like I haven't played since like season 5, and now they're on season 8, so it's been a while. I don't think I've touched it since before baby Booyaa was born, so it's been a good 6 months-ish, maybe. Booyaa Master's not broken. He's just trying to stop you from doing the commands too many times. Alright, so now we've added our mushrooms. We'll let those go for a couple minutes on that simmer. As I've stated several times, booyah! We don't want those mushrooms to turn to mush, because they are another part of what you're eating to essentially simulate having beans in your soup still. But there's no beans in here. Not for keto chili. If you're not doing keto, go right ahead. Add beans. With this much soup, you'll need at least 1 can. I would probably lean towards 2 cans of beans. Other than that, there's not too much else to make it not keto. However you want to make it. So the end results of this for your macros: 1 cup of chili is 149 calories. That's going to be 14.4 grams of protein, 7.2 grams of fat, 6 grams of carbs. So it's a 39% protein, 44% fat, 17% carbs. Not a ton of fat towards most. You can always, like I said, include the extra bacon grease. I get fat from many other sources like fat bombs. So you can include the extra bacon grease, or you can add olive oil. Do that towards the beginning. You don't really want to do that towards the end. You want it to get more integrated into the soup. So let's see here. It's 6 carbs per cup, but the net carbs is what you really want to look at when you're on keto. Some people watch both very strictly. In terms of net carbs, per 1 cup of soup, you're looking at 3.6 net carbs. So I usually have 2 cups of soup as a serving. So that's coming out to 7.2 grams of net carbs for soup. That is pretty good. I usually try to keep to 20 net carbs or less when it comes to making my my day. My full day needs to be 20 net carbs or less, and that is what I've been having success with Fat bombs? Yes, fat bombs are a thing. Usually they're comprised of like 50% coconut oil or something like of that nature that's very fatty. All right, so our soup all cooked, ready to go. Turn the burner off, scooch it back. Our soup is ready. I'm going to get some scooped into a bowl. If anything, my wife is going to want it scooped out sooner than later so that it has a chance to cool down. Alright, I need to get a bowl. And I need to get a measuring cup. Am I done cooking? The cooking portion is done. So we're going to scoop this out, and then it goes to the eating portion, which will not be on stream, sorry. So usually when I'm scooping soup, I scoop all the way at the bottom on the first scoop, and then I'll kind of scoop in the middle-ish, top-ish area for the next scoop. That's the best I can do to guess that I'm scooping the correct amount. You know, get a nice even amount of beef and bacon, which tends to go to the bottom, and the mushrooms and the peppers go to the top. Try to get it as even as possible. 2 cups of soup in a bowl. It looks so good. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So there's your soup. Scoop that up. Every spoonful giving you some pepper, some onion, some bacon, some beef. Lots of good stuff going on in there. Like I said, lots of times I top this with cheese when it's done. I like to mix in some extra chili powder for myself. So that is what I do. That cheese will also help you get more fats in, but it also gives you lots of protein. I know some people look at too much protein as a bad thing. I don't worry too much on the protein so long as I'm getting lots and lots of fat. My overall macros look good. Cooking on stream is great. It's so much fun. Alright, so that is it for that. If you're on my Discord or if you're on my Instagram, I will have a picture of the final product in the bowl that looks a little bit better posted on those sources so you can see the final product. That's right, I do have an Instagram. I don't do too much over there other than posting the food stuff and occasional stream screen pics. So if you want to check that out, that is also Kent Says Booyaa, exactly how it's spelled here on YouTube. Same with Twitter. If you don't have Discord but you want to be notified other than YouTube notifying you, it's also Kent Says Booyaa. www.twitter.com/Kent Says Booyaa. Easy as can be. Wonderful and easy. Alright, so I'm going to head on out and enjoy my delicious chili. Later I'll update the description so that the ingredients are all listed there. I don't always change my description ahead of time because I do so much gaming stuff. I don't want to have my description be changed every single time. So I'll go back and write the ingredients down below in the description for later. So if you want just the ingredient list and you can figure out the rest, or you can rewatch the video, however you want to do it. Like I said, leave a comment down below if you have any questions or if you have any comments about what we can do to improve the wonderful fun of cooking with Booyaa. Alright, so you guys have a good and great day or night, whatever it is that applies to you. I'll see you guys in my Discord. I'll see you in my stream. As always, remember, be excellent to each other. Booyah!